Everyone needs a friend, but that can be hard. A boy in our neighborhood came to play, and in the way of boys, we argued. Arguing led to pushing, and pushing led to a fight. And I don't remember exactly how it ended. What I remember is thinking for decades afterwards that all I wanted was a friend. Growing up, we find plenty of acquaintances. We share a common cause for a while, but causes fade and acquaintances fall away. And the stark truth, when you get old enough to count, is that the number of real friends is few. There's a friendship in the Bible that had no business being one of those few. Jonathan was the crown prince, first in line for his father's throne, his father's army, his father's kingdom. David was the man his father had already tried to kill. Not eventually, already. Saul had a spear in his hand and David had a harp. And the spear left Saul's hand and buried itself in the wall where David's head had been a half second before. David ran. He ran into the dark, into the fields, not knowing who in his own country he could trust. And Jonathan, the son standing to lose an entire kingdom to this fugitive, went out into that same field to find him. He wept with him. He made a covenant with him. Told him, in effect, I know what this cost me, and I am choosing you anyway. Now, I've been sitting with that story this week because I have one like it. Not in the Bible, mine. I was in Hartford, Connecticut, teaching a room full of strangers how to administer IBM WebSphere. We broke for lunch. I went out to the parking lot to get some air, and my flip phone rang in my pocket. I never got spam calls on that phone, and this was a real number, area code 404. I stood there for a second, curious in a banal sort of way. Who do I know in Atlanta? My parents were gone. I had not reconnected with the cousins down there. I almost didn't think it through before I answered. And I recognized his voice before my mind caught up to whose voice it was. The last time we had spoken, Beth had been dead a matter of weeks. And this phone call was more than 20 years later. I found a low rock wall at the edge of the parking lot, and I sat down because my legs and my knees told me I better. He had been a groom at my wedding. I had gone on his first date, a double date. The girl that he later married sat between us. We had been friends since before either of us could tell you what a friend was. He went to seminary in Texas, and I went to sea. And somewhere in the years after Beth, I had sealed that whole part of my life shut. The same way that you cauterize a wound. Not healed, just stopped the bleeding. Burned it off so I could keep functioning. And he found a way through. He told me a couple of stories. He mentioned he'd become a parole officer.